wearing.
Bank earnings season is going to begin on Friday. We've got JP Morgan and Wells Fargo both reporting. Some traders think that, it's going to be a great earnings season for these banks, and some are not so sure. I'm joined with Mary Kopczynski. She is the CEO of 8 of 9 Consulting. So, Mary, you really know what's going on with these banks. You're in them, you're talking to them, they're your customers. What's your feeling about this earnings season for the banks?
I think it's going to be a moderate growth. Earnings are based on your profits, but also your costs. And one of the biggest impacts that has hit the banks lately has been the costs associated with regulation.
You bring up a good point. A lot of people I talk to say that the banks are really struggling with this heightened regulatory environment from Washington. But they don't even really know what regulations they're going to have to comply with and how to comply with them and what's going on.
Well, that's part of the difficulty, is that there's, first of all, so many regulators on an international and local level. But on top of it, some of the regulators don't know what they want to do in the end. And then you have some that conflict actively with each other. So you find the banks sort of in this frozen position where they're not sure what they need to do next.
Now, are they hiring a lot of consultants like yourself? I mean, it sounds like your business is going gangbusters and that they're looking for outside help.
We specialize right in the area of regulation and technology and where it meets. And so our skill set is definitely in demand. Banks in general are bringing on lots of different consultants because it's just easier from a perspective to pivot their business and face something. But there's still a huge need for full-time employment in compliance, project management. They do need that business continuity that comes with full-time employees.
But you don't hear that they're hiring. It just doesn't sound like it.
They're hiring almost the same as last year, which the other key difference is where they're hiring. So the kinds of positions are showing up in places like Virginia and some of the Delaware, where they're sort of smaller cost of living environments and easier for people
and close to Washington, so they can figure out what's going on with
Exactly.
the regulatory environment. Exactly. Okay, so we know that the banks are dealing with mortgage issues still. Are there other issues that they're trying to get their heads around?
Well, they're still facing a lot of the Dodd-Frank related regulation. Mortgages are certainly an issue. I think probably the biggest issue has been FATCA, which is a IRS regulation that comes out of the Jobs Act that is requiring banks to assess their foreign financial entities to figure out if they are harboring U.S. funds, in which case they need to either register or they need to withhold 30%.
Oh my, so they need some tax people.
Definitely. And a lot of it, in the end, banks are technology firms. So 8 of 9, for example, we help specialize building those systems that do the math of the withholding. So we are working on lots of different avenues of regulation and how to measure it properly.
All right, ultimately, what's the tone? You go into these clients of yours, these banking customers. Are they feeling good? Are they upbeat? Are they kind of still feeling like they're on the comeback trail? What's the mood?
I think it's still very muted. I think people are maybe breathing a sigh of relief that the first big Dodd-Frank regulation came through and nothing exploded. And so I think it's that feeling of let's just keep plugging along and we'll get there. But definitely still very focused, very concerned, very price conscious. And hopefully we'll be turning a corner soon.
All right, well, there you have it. Something to look for when you're looking at the earnings reports for the banks in this earnings season. Look at where they're spending that money to fight all these and to comply with all these regulatory issues. That was Mary Kopczynski of 8 of 9 Consulting, and I'm Deborah Borchardt with The Street.